Good afternoon and welcome to Blythewood Town Council meeting. Today is Monday, November the 25th of the year 2024. The time is 6 p.m. Ms. Durst, would you please call the roll, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Page?
Here.
Councilman Brock?
Here.
Councilwoman Fritz?
Present.
Councilman McKenrick?
Here.
Mayor Griffin?
Here. Thank you, ma'am. Was notification and posting of the meeting posted according to state law?
Yes, sir, it was.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, would you please join me for the pledge and the invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this gathering this evening. We want to thank you for the freedoms that you have placed upon each and every one of us. We also want to send up a special prayer and thanks to you for seeing us through a week and seeing us through a week. Bless each and every one of us as we engage in the holiday season of Thanksgiving. Let us not forget the real reason of Thanksgiving, and that's to give you the all glory and the thanks. Guide us and lead us through this meeting tonight, Lord. We ask for all these in your name we pray. Amen. All right, council, before you, I'll be looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular town council meeting in October.
Everything is
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve them as presented.
Thank you, sir. Motion made by
Second.
Councilman McKendrick, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brock. Any discussion? All right, all signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you, council. Now we move to the town administrator report, Mr. Steins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a second. All right. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you'll look, so I've kind of changed the format just a little bit with our town administrator reports. So moving forward, what we'll be doing is these will be typed up in more of a presentation format that will be put on the website along with the packets each month. So at the top, I've kind of just put a little notice there that the information we put month to month will be put on the town's website, and then they'll also be presented at each council meeting. So I'll go through those tonight as quick as possible. Starting off, always follow us on social media platforms, sign up for our text alerts to stay the most informed with everything we've got going on with events and happenings and different things around town. The town offices will be closed November 28th and 29th for Thanksgiving. The town's Christmas tree lighting event will be December 1st at 5 o'clock. Join us for a lighting ceremony, local performances, a chance to meet Santa and enjoy refreshments courtesy of Blythewood Rotary and Blythewood Civic Hands Club. Christmas concert will immediately follow at the Palmetto Citizens First Amphitheater, performed by Village Church Worship. There will be food trucks and more opportunity to meet Santa. On the December 8th, the Christmas parade will be at 2 o'clock. Parade routes. It might not be on. I do apologize. I thought my microphone was on.
It is on now. So at December 8th, the Christmas parade will be at 2 o'clock. Parade routes, closures, and details are available on the town's website and on our social media and local publications. For projects, we have the soccer field and pavilion outside of the manor here. That was given a notice to proceed to Randolph & Sons Construction for the development of a new 9v9 soccer field as well restroom and pavilion. The cost of that project was $1.3 million, and mobilization will begin next week, December 2nd. In fact, there's already some equipment starting to show up out there. That project will conclude May 2025. The Land Development Ordinance, what we refer to as the LDO, we've been working with Kended Keys Collaborative for the last 18 months. We have wrapped up final comments from the public, and we will be running that back through all of our boards and commissions for recommendation to council for adoption. Right now, staff's anticipating a February 2025 time frame to bring that to council for first reading process for adoption. The town hall project, the renovations are just about complete, and both interior and exterior. The roofers are expected to be finished tomorrow or Wednesday, worst case scenario. Landscaping began with town staff today, and final punch list items have been done with AP Restoration, who was the sub underneath First Class Construction. With roads, again, staff encourages residents to follow us on social media, follow the town on social media and on our website for the latest on road closures. The Blythewood widening project is a Richland Penny project, and we stay in communication with Richland County to assist on communicating updates on that. I'd actually like to invite Michael Green up to the podium, and he will give us a quick update on that Blythewood Road widening project. Yes, sir. I'll get your microphone. There we go.
So I want to start off with what we've accomplished so far on the project. We placed the drainage structures, placed the curb and gutter, and we placed the shared use path on the project. We've also relocated all the utilities on the project. And what we want to do next is place the asphalt paving on the south side so that we can shift traffic to the south side and work on the north side of the project. We just recently got a change order completed to pay for the work being done at night for the paving. And the contractor plans to start on this, December 2nd. And it'll take about 2 weeks to place the asphalt paving. And we're about 40% done on the project. We should be at about 65% complete. We're a little behind because of utilities. And also, there is a chance that we could get a little further behind because the DOT has a rule that you can't place asphalt paving if it's below 35 degrees. And we're getting to that time of the year where the temperatures are going to be around that. So we'll monitor that closely to make sure we're in compliance. But other than that, I think we're in good standing, and I'll open the floor for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Just one question. What's the time of the road work? I know at one time it was like between 9 and 4, 9 and 5. What's that time frame?
Yeah, the road work is between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m.
And that's going to be Monday through
It's
Sunday,
going to be Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid the weekend.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions of council? All right, hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Green. I'll wrap up the administrative report here. And so the other projects we got going on road-related in town would be the Scout Motors Drive, which was formerly Community Road, the overpass connector to Wilson Boulevard, and the interchange. Those are all SCDOT projects related to the Scout Motors project. And while the town is not working on those specifically, we do stay in close contact with SCDOT in Richland County to give those updates on social media. The next major impact from that project will be coming the rail spur, which will be on Wilson US 21, and that closure is expected for 36 hours on spring break of 2025. So we'll continue to update that as we move along. Other town business, the town administration issued 15 building permits for the month of November. The Public Works Department worked on a pretty long project with Dominion Energy, updating all the utility pole drops for our Christmas decorations and brought those into compliance. We've also established our service agreements with Dominion that hadn't been in place, so everything is good there. The town's Public Works Department has also been working really hard for the Christmas season, coordinating lighting efforts, decorations, and maintenance of the town. And then the town's marketing and events staff and the manor staff have been working hard to plan, market, and organize the Christmas tree lighting and the Christmas parade. We did have some handout cards, flyers for those events, just to kind of show some of the marketing staff's hard work with creating graphics and advertisements. And outside of that, staff just wishes the town a happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor, on the administrative report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Steins. Any questions for our administrator?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Mr. Steins, on number 8, have we had any conversations with SCDOT about getting the red light at Surratt Mill and the Scout site hung? Because at 5 o'clock, all those Scout employees are trying to get out, and they do not have a signal on their side of that intersection.
That's right. We have brought that up. I have spoken with both the county and SCDOT. My understanding is that that is being done. It's a question of funding. So, I mean, not in the sense they don't have funding, but I think just who's responsible for it. I will follow up with that, but that has been in the conversations, and my understanding is they will be hanging up a signal for those exiting Scout employees.
Okay. And then last question for me is, under our new business license agreement that we did last month, was there any report given to the town this month on?
Not on business licensing. No, I think it's too early. We're still, we just got them started.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions for our administrator? Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Steins, in our January meeting, would you see to it that we get an update on the 6-month performance of the manor? I think that'd be a good time to do a recap for council on the manor since it's under new leadership.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. All right, council, before you, item G, FY 24-25 monthly budget report. Mr. Steins, I'm looking at do you have any highlights for council?
Yes, just Mr. Mayor, just a couple. There are no major line item changes from last month's report. However, I do want to update that as of November 2024, the town has exhausted 32.5% of the proposed FY 25 expenses. This is overall a good outlook as we near the halfway point of the fiscal year. And then on the revenue side of things, the town has collected 20.5% of the FY projected revenues, keeping in mind that many of our funding sources come in the third and fourth quarter. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, council, before you, you have the copies of the budget. Any questions for our administrator or questions you need followed up on? Hearing none, thank you, Mr. Steins. Next, we'll move to the budget and committee updates, starting with Doco Meadows Park Foundation, Councilwoman Page.
Nothing new to report this month.
Thank you, ma'am. Item B, Central Midlands Council of Governments, that's myself. They're in retreat this month, this week, so nothing to report right now. Item C, Richland County Transportation Penny Tax Advisory Committee to TPAC, Councilman McKendrick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I will defer. Mr. Green did a great job recapping the TPAC, where we are in the project, and what to look forward to, so
Yes,
thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move to action items for tonight. Citizen testimony regarding action items as items are presented. I will check the roster here in a second. First on the action item agenda is item A, discussion and approval to release a letter of credit for Abney Hills Phase 2 subdivision. Thank you, ma'am. Phase 2 subdivision, credit number IS 000356777U in the amount of $261,312.50. Mr. Steins.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is more or less a formality as it relates to how the ordinance is written for the town and subdivision bonding. Developer Stanley Martin Homes has completed all the requirements received for a final plat of the Abney Hills Phase 2 subdivision. Staff presented a final plat to the Blythewood Planning Commission, receiving a unanimous approval on November 4th. Staff presented the documentation of a signed final plat meeting the town's ordinance requirements. Final inspections and acceptances for roads from Richland County has been received, and copies of the as-bills to retain on file have been received. Staff has also verified all the tree density requirements and conditions of the preliminary plat. As part of the subdivision agreement, Abney Hills Phase 2 was placed under a bond, later converted to a letter of credit. And Ordinance Section 153-105 allows council to accept a bond. Therefore, council should release the bond once the final plat is accepted. In summary, staff requests council to approve that the town administrator can execute documentation and release the letter of credit for Abney Hills Phase 2 subdivision in the amount said. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the release of the bond in the amount of $261,312.50 as presented.
Thank you, sir. Motion made by Councilman McKendrick to approve. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second made by Mayor Pro Tem Brock. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is under action item B, discussion and approval to amend a historical designation for Sandy Level Baptist Church, adding the classrooms as a Class 1 protected structure. Mr. Steins.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Again, this is more or less a formality as classified in our ordinance as well. What we have is the Blythewood Historic Preservation Society, also the BAR, recently received consensus from Sandy Level Baptist Church to amend and add the Sunday school rooms and balcony to be designated as Class 1 historic property, part of the overall existing historic classification of the church. At the October 21, 2024 Board of Architectural Review meeting, they approved to amend the Sandy Level historic classification to include Sunday school rooms and balcony. Ordinance Section 155-551 establishes that historic structures are those that have been designated by the council as historic. Sandy Level Baptist Church has previously been established as historic structure by the Planning Commission, Board of Historic Preservation, BAR, and the Town Council. As such, an amendment to an existing structure may be recommended by the BAR and approved by the Town Council. A memo from the BAR Chair, the Board of Architectural Review, has been enclosed, noting the history and detail for the amendment to include said portion of the structure. In summary, the request is for council to accept the recommendation of the Blythewood Historic Preservation Committee, as well as BAR, to add the balcony and Sunday school rooms to the overall Class 1 historic property designation.
Thank you, Mr. Steins.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just noting that it may include the baptismal pool that's in the description here.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Council, any discussion from council on item C?
Mr. Mayor, is there anybody from the BAR here to speak for them?
Mr. Mayor, there is. I think Jim McLean is here. Would you like to speak on this, Mr. McLean?
I'm a former chairman of the BAR, and now I'm just simply a member. But my name is Jim McLean, and good to be with you tonight. Basically what this does, you can't protect half a building. And by quirk of the way the original ordinance was written, it didn't specify that the Sunday school rooms were included. So what this is now doing is bringing both of them under one classification.
But we are still talking about the sanctuary building itself.
We're talking about the sanctuary, we're talking about the balcony, everything's included, we're just adding the Sunday school rooms.
I think my question is, we're not talking about the back building, the second building that was built on.
We're not talking about the new structure, but we're talking about the single building, the single that's right, that's correct,
All
right.
That was my clarification.
Right.
Coming from the siding conversation when they redid the siding on the sanctuary,
Right.
because one of those buildings was not classified.
That is correct. Yeah, that was an error at the time, and I think the church realized that should have been part of the original classification. It is one structure. This building was built in 1855. It's 170 years old. It predates the town hall. And my understanding is it's probably the oldest building in Richland County that's been continuously operated since it was built. I'm not aware of any other structure that fits that category.
Mr. McLean, just a point of clarity here. Is the baptismal pool in association with this, or was it the balcony and the Sunday school rooms?
The baptismal pool and the balcony have always been included. Now, the baptismal pool is behind the church and so forth, but they have always been included. The only thing that we're clarifying is the fact that the attached Sunday school rooms are part of the main sanctuary. And you can't separate those two. That's one structure. And if you can't protect half a building. But again, the baptismal pool, which is behind the church, the Sunday school rooms, which is attached to the church, the front part of the sanctuary, and the balcony have all protected along those lines. And they were all part of the original classification, except for the Sunday school rooms.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any more questions for Mr. McLean?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, council, if there's no further discussion, I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you, sir. Motion made by Councilmember Kendrick. Looking for a second.
Second.
Second made by Ms. Councilwoman Page. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next, we'll move to Resolution 2024.003, a joint resolution of the Town of Blythewood, Office of the Mayor, Town Council, and the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce reaffirming a commitment to the business community and economic growth. I see Ms. Deb, who's with you this afternoon? Just a little background on this. I do want to, as they approach, I do want to thank the new leadership of the chamber for reaching out to me. I think that's important. New leadership from the town standpoint, new leadership from the chamber standpoint, and I just love you guys to death. I like the direction that you're going in. I appreciate the board coming together to have a conversation with me so that the town and the chamber is not divided. We're different entities, but we're not divided. We have to work good. We have to work well together, and that's what this resolution is to essentially end the quote unquote, what I called in our meeting, the beef between the town and the chamber. There is none of that. We understand our different positions, and we owe it to the town and the business sector to continue those efforts. So what I want to do, I'm going to read this, and then Ms. Deb, you'll sign this.
Okay.
You're going to get a copy of this.
Yes.
And I ask council to join me for a photo moment with the chamber. This resolution 2024.003, a joint resolution of the Town of Blythewood Office of the Mayor, Town Council, and the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce reaffirming a commitment to the business, community, and economic growth. Whereas the Town of Blythewood and the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce recognize the vital role of the local businesses in fostering economic development, creating employment opportunities, and enhancing the quality of life of all residents. Whereas the partnership between the Town of Blythewood and the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce has long been a cornerstone of promoting a thriving business environment and sustainable growth. Whereas the town and the chamber are committed to working harmoniously with the local business community to understand and address their needs and to foster an environment that supports entrepreneurship and innovation. Whereas the parties acknowledge the importance of advocating for policy and the incentives that enhance all overall business climate and ensure Blythewood's status as a hub for commerce and community engagement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Blythewood, Office of the Mayor, Town Council, and the Blythewood Chamber of Commerce do hereby affirm their strong partnership and shared commitment to the success and sustainability of the local business community. Be it resolved that the town and the chamber pledge to strengthen efforts to promote local businesses, provide critical resources, and advocate and advance initiatives that support economic prosperity for the town of Blythewood and its residents. Any comments from the chamber?
Well, yes, I would like to say thank you to you all, because the one way to become a stronger community is to have everybody work together, and that was one of my and the board, we came together on how we really need to work together to build unity between everyone, and it's been really great, and I really appreciate the mayor taking the time to come to our board meeting and meet with all of us. We brainstormed, and I just think we're only going to get better as we go, and the community and the businesses are only going to thrive with all of us coming together, and we're very honored to be a part of this. Thank you very much.
It's a little different, but and I ask members of the council if you wouldn't mind to come forward.
Does this require a vote,
Yes.
or is it just me? It does?
Yes.
Well, we might ought to do that first.
Let's do a vote then. Come on.
You know what?
We'll do a vote. Excuse me, ma'am. Any discussion from members of council? Hearing none, I'd be looking for a motion to approve this resolution as presented.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution 2024.
All right, thank you. Motion made by Councilwoman Page. I'll be looking for a second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman McKendrick. Any discussion? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Can someone inform me within this resolution where the town stopped doing these things? When did the town stop supporting the chamber? It's my recollection that we have maintained what I've always said is an overly aggressive membership plan. We continue to fund their events, or now single event. And the town has always been business friendly. I would agree that there have been some soured relationships between individual members on council and leadership members of the chamber, you included, Mr. Mayor. But now it seems that you're doing somewhat of an about face and wanting to get chummy with the chamber. When I was a new young member on council, one of the first things that I was asked to vote on was paying the rent and utilities for the chamber because they couldn't, at least that's what they said, they couldn't afford to keep the lights on and they couldn't afford to keep the doors open. And the first time they came in front of us, they asked for $4,800 and 3 individuals voted no. You did, Mr. Mayor. Former Councilman Larry Griffin voted no, and I voted no. That sent shock waves through chamber leadership. They couldn't believe that we wouldn't pay their rent and utilities with taxpayer funds because we shouldn't have. It was just blatantly a violation of state statute. There's no doubt about it. But they came back the next month under what was considered a material change by simply lowering the amount that they asked for to $4,000. I believe at the time we got bad legal advice, and one member flipped their vote, and it passed 3-2. From that point forward, several members of the chamber did not care for me, and that's okay. I consider myself a bit of a fiscal hawk. I like to watch the dollars. Every dollar that is spent by this town is a dollar that is owned by the citizens of this town. And Councilman McKendrick has said that so many times. It doesn't make a difference if it's $1 or $100,000. You have to treat them the same. And it got to the point where the Chamber of Commerce, who I believe their mission is to promote their membership's interests within the community, was running 3 events, was receiving in excess of $50,000 per year from the town, and it just got out of hand. And when people spoke up, mainly me, I was basically met with, how dare you deny us or speak out against us receiving funding. I know y'all remember this. Y'all were there. I'm not pointing fingers at you, but you were there. And so, one day on the lovely website that is Facebook, there was an article that I think was discussing, it was published probably by Miss Ball, who does a fantastic job in covering all the town's events. There was I'm gonna get my phone out so that I can pull this up and read it verbatim, and please excuse the language. This is not my language. This is what was written to me and another member, constituent of this community, when asked, essentially, or rather, when we stated that we had questions about the use of funds that was received by the chamber when they put on RibFest. And by the way, it is my opinion, and I believe it is a well-accepted opinion, that if you receive taxpayer funds, you open yourself up to questions from the grantor. That would be us. So, my statement was, I have questions as well in response to a Blythewood citizen. This was posted by Tony Kraut, who I believe is your current chairman of the board. This is no longer out there on Facebook, but the beauty of screenshots is that they can live forever. This is what he said. He said, I'm going to respond as Tony Kraut, not the Blythewood Chamber. First, Cindy and Brock, you can both suck a bag of dicks. This town gave this event $7,500. We rent the park for another $4,000, $4,500. The cost to put on this event is around $72,000. Before you say the town finance Get your shit straight. We picked Vital Connections of the Midlands for our charity this year. The scholarships go to kids from the high schools here in the area. If any funds are left over, we would be very lucky. Personally, I have received a freaking $50 gift card for my work I put into this event. I'm sure you will have the report in your hand very soon to go over it before the next town hall meeting. But by all means, ask the questions. You can meet me anytime today to get your answers. But don't sling shit at the chamber about this event that I take very personally. So be very careful with your words with me." End quote. I challenge anybody in the town of Blythewood to come and please come to this council, come to this chamber, and tell me and show me when I've ever said anything negative about RibFest. I consider RibFest one of the best events in town. You receive taxpayer funds. Are you open to questions? Absolutely. And that's how your chairman speaks to a member of council who votes on the appropriation that you ask for? Sometimes we just want answers. That's what I've been met with the last several years. Not from everybody. There are plenty of members of the chamber that I think are fantastic people, that I hang out with, that I talk to, and there are others that I do not. So this resolution comes across as, to me, as like everybody's trying to change, we're trying to change. I don't think the town's changed, and quite frankly, I really don't think the chamber's changed that much. So that's all I have to say.
With all due respect, Councilman Brock, I think our whole goal here is moving forward and coming together. I know you quoted that you felt like we were all getting along together. We want to move forward, and we want to work together harmoniously and get beyond all that happened in the past. And
Well, then your chairman owes me and Miss Merritt an apology. And I don't care if he apologizes to me, but he could apologize to her. She didn't do anything. And I hope he hears this.
Well, I will make sure that that gets back to him.
I'm sure it will.
But that is our whole goal. It doesn't do anybody, whether it's the town, the chamber, or any other organization, to continue in a negative aspect. If we can just move forward and everybody work together, as I said, harmoniously, it makes a big difference. And I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate you bringing that up and mentioning that. But all we want to do is just work together with all of us as a team and be working toward positive goals. And like, I want to be there, our chamber wants to be there to support all of the town's events. I share your post all the time. I love being a part of this town. I love Blythewood. Blythewood's my heart, and that's why I wanted to get this position, because I have such a big heart for the community, and I have thoroughly enjoyed going to all the businesses, asking them, what their concerns are, learning more about them, getting out in the community. That's how I'm going to hear what all the concerns are, and I'll share anything that I have with y'all. I just want us all to work together, and that's all I ask. That's what I feel like in my heart. This is what this resolution is all about, and I hope you see that.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm going to give other members of council if they wish. If you have any discussion, we have a motion and a second. All right, before I close and ask for a vote, I'm just going to say this. Leadership is not easy. Leadership is hard. You make the tough decisions. There's a lot of things that probably was said about me I shared with you guys in the board meeting. I'm handling business as a grown man, and moving forward is what I have coined my time here. If I can't move forward, if I'm going to hold grudges, we'll never move forward as a town. So I appreciate you guys laying out the vision on where you are and where you're going. I appreciate looking at it and saying, we don't do this anymore. We realize this doesn't work, And I feel like the town owed the chamber new leadership. We have new leadership that was elected. We asked the people to give us a chance. You have new leadership, and that's what that is, giving each other a chance to move this town forward. So I appreciate you. With that being said, I'll be roll call, Ms. Thurston.
Councilwoman Page? Councilwoman Fritz?
Yes.
Councilman McKenrick?
Yeah.
Councilman Brock?
Was that me? Oh, no.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes, thank you. You already, yeah, you can, he gonna get a picture like you signed it in there. Thank you, ma'am. Forward. Thank you, sir. I need barbecue. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Do y'all wanna, Ms. Deb, let's do can y'all get photos?
Yeah, come on up here.
I s-
Yeah, the clear up kind of getting up, actually. Okay, just come on up here. Just 1 second. Can y'all come to the podium?
Come to the podium.
That'll work.
Y'all photo.
Gotta get the photo.
Do you want me to stand here, or where do you want me to stand?
Remember, if you stand with Deb at the podium. Y'all come this way. Somebody stand in front of Jimmy so it doesn't look so far.
Brock, come and stand in front of me, Brock, so you'll know.
So y'all,
Hug? Yes, we hug. We can hug. There we go. Hug it out. I got it off my chest. I feel better. New leadership, my friend, new leadership.
All right, well, Ms. Fripp or Ms. Rich, come on over on this side.
Wait, don't look so bad.
There we go. Y'all just lift up. Good, good. Thank you, guys. Nice up.
Should be fast.
hey, thank you. Moving to the second and final readings for 2 ordinances before we go to an executive session. First item, item A, ordinance 2024.006, discussion and approval of an ordinance to amend the official zoning map and zoning district classification tax parcel TMS R12500-03-01 from light industrial LI2 to light industrial research park LIRP. Mr. Steins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second and final reading for rezone request for tax map number R12500-0301. The rezone was for a 5.68 acre portion from a total of 1,629 acres to allow a technical trade center for Scout Motors. A public hearing and first reading was held October 28, 2024. No information has changed since this first reading.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any discussion from council? Being there's no changes since first reading. All right, hearing none, I'll be looking for a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Brock, looking for a second.
Second.
Credit given to the lady. Councilwoman Page with the second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, ordinance 2024-008, discussion and approval of an ordinance establishing an annual goal setting for Blythewood Town Council. Mr. Steins, well, Ms. Page, I know there were changes made to this. Any discussion on this ordinance?
Mr. Mayor, there was no changes made on the ordinance as first presentation.
Okay, so no, all right. Ms. Page, you have any discussion on this item before we ask for a vote?
No.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Any discussion from members of council? All right, I'll be looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Made by Mayor Pro Tem, second, looking for a second.
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Page. Any discussion? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, next we'll be moving to executive session per South Carolina Section 30-04-70 with 3 items to discuss. Item A, discussion and negotiation incident to propose sale or property or purchase of property. Item B, receipt of legal advice subject to attorney-client privilege in relating to a pending claim, i.e. the MPA lawsuit update. And then item C, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of an employment, i.e. deputy town administrator. Be looking for a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to go into executive session with a 5-minute recess between.
Second.
Motion- All right, motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Brock for a 5-minute recess before, second by Councilman McKendrick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you. 5-minute recess. time is 8:25. I'll be looking for a motion to reconvene from executive session.
So moved.
Second?
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. All right, council, are there any items requiring a vote following executive session?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, sir. I would like to make a motion to call a special called meeting. I'm not going to give a date because I'd like to leave that up to discussion yet. But the motion would be to first reading of a proposed budget amendment, which would be ordinance 2024.009, to amend the current adopted budget, which was ordinance 2024.004. Discussion and approval. That's the motion. And I would, if necessary, Mr. Balthazar or Balthazar, I don't know exactly what you go by, but I could take a friendly amendment when we discuss to figure out what date works best for everybody. Would that be proper?
I think the date can be decided
Date's
on
negligible at this point?
administratively. I don't think the date
Okay.
needs to be
I
part
wasn't
of
sure.
part of the motion.
Okay,
The ordinance only requires that a special called meeting be called by either the mayor or a majority of council. It doesn't get specific about the date.
okay. All right, then the motion stands as read, as presented.
Are you seconding or you?
No, I have a question.
Get it.
Mayor Pro Tem, can you please repeat that?
Okay. The motion is to call a special called meeting for a discussion and approval of a budget amendment, which would be ordinance 2024.009, which would amend the current adopted budget, which is ordinance 2024.004. It just narrows the scope of the meeting, that's all.
All right, motion been made. Is there a second?
But we don't know when, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, if I may. Brock?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out how to get to what I'm after here. And will you amend your motion to include an executive session?
Absolutely.
At the beginning of that special called meeting?
Is that required in the motion, Pete?
I don't know that I don't think it's necessarily required. An executive session can be held on any item that is on an agenda. In other words, tonight, even though it wasn't on the executive session agenda, if any council member moved for an executive session to get legal advice, for instance, on ordinance number 2024.006, if that motion was made, seconded, and approved, you could have gone into executive session.
So the budget amendment, the wording of that will come obviously after this vote. That amendment, we can go into executive session on.
Yes, you could.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I second that motion.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, Ms. Baker.
Councilwoman Page,
Yes.
Councilwoman Fritz,
Yes.
Councilman McCamrick,
Yes.
Councilman Brock,
Yes.
Mayor Griffin.
No. Yes, let's have it. Thank you, ma'am. All right, at this time, if I don't have anyone signed up for open citizens comment, but I'll pause for a second. All right, hearing none, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.